Bye week, we just finished our second practice of the week. We're going Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday here this week. Actually, happy with the way the bye weeks have fallen here this year. Gave us a chance to go back and really do a thorough self-evaluation of our football team after the first 2 weeks. Look at things that we've done well. Look at where we haven't done so well. Try to identify issues if there's a gap somewhere between where we are and where we want to be. Look at things that we may have to eliminate, we can change, or just keep working to improve. Evaluate personnel. So it's been a good, really last 3 days to do all of that. Just looking at the game from last Saturday, watch the game. Really emotional after the game watching it, because just disappointed, frustrated, and just sad for our players. I thought our team was really prepared to play. They had a great week of preparation. It's kind of like getting ready to go run a 100-yard dash and you false start and never really get a chance to get going, is really what it was. There was a sequence in the game that really kind of took the life out of our team there in the second quarter. We had the ball across the 50, 2nd and 1. Threw a ball in the or the 2nd and 2, then 3rd and 2, roll out, and that's when McLean got hurt on that play. And then after that, decided to punt, and then they took the ball down the field and scored, and that was kind of, where the game really tilted, and we never really got back on solid ground from there. But the disappointment is that's just not our team. That's not what we've seen from our football team during training camp. That's not what we expected last Saturday, and that's not what we expect moving forward. But that's where we're at, and this gives us a great opportunity to evaluate everything, come out here and work and try to continue to improve in the areas that we need to. So with that, I'll go ahead and open up for any questions.
What, do you feel like the Iowa game was an aberration? Do you feel like there's, you expressed a
No,
lot of confidence that
there's
can be better?
Yeah, I'll start just defensively. We played pretty good defensively until the fourth quarter. We had them, I think, 101 total rushing yards after 3 quarters. In the fourth quarter, we misfit a couple runs that got out the gate that got that total out of hand. We gave up 2 explosive pass plays during the game that really were unacceptable, that were disappointed probably more so than anything. But I thought our defensive line probably played the best game it's played in a couple of years here. I thought they were physical at the point of attack. I thought they were doing a really good job of holding the point at the line of scrimmage. They were in the backfield quite a bit. Linebacker, we misfit a couple runs where runs got out, but it wasn't the defensive line. I thought they played pretty physical, played with great effort, good fundamentals, and executed the plan that we had for them against Iowa on Saturday. I thought, in the run game, our secondary tackled really well. The run support was really good from the secondary. Again, a couple of the explosive plays offensively. I was pleased with the first quarter, even though we didn't really get any points. We were doing some things to at least move the ball a little bit in the first quarter, and then in the second quarter on, that's really when it fell apart, and really disappointed with the final 3 quarters of the game. But again, that is just not our team. That's not what I saw through training camp. That's not what I saw in the first game. Now Iowa has something to do with it, because they're a pretty good team. When you get into a game and you're playing a good opponent, they can alter your plans and what you hope to do with their plays, and that's a little bit what happened.
You mentioned McLean. What can you tell us about his status?
He suffered a concussion in the first half of the game, and he's really day-to-day.
Do you guys follow the NFL protocol? Is there a big
No, the NFL protocol is different than, we have there's an NCAA protocol, okay, university protocol that you follow.
What's kind of that process like? From you as a head coach, you get.
So I have nothing to do with it. It's all the medical staff.
Okay.
So, yeah,
I'm not involved in anything.
That was the question that we're going to get asked. Is like, it's all team medical. You have nothing to do with it.
No, I have nothing.
In 2019, the football coach doesn't have
No.
anything to do with it in 2019.
No,
right?
I'm not involved in any medical evaluation on anything. Concussions, a sprained ankle, hurt shoulder. I don't get paid to do that. That's not in my wheelhouse at all. And we have an outstanding medical staff with our trainers and team doctors that handle all that stuff.
You mentioned that sequence in the second quarter when you got into Iowa territory. After watching the film, in hindsight, do you wish you had gone for it on 4th and 2? Or
no, not at all. The decision to go for a 4th down or punt, really it's situational. When you look at the situation, we were 2nd and 2. threw the ball in the dirt. We were 3rd and 2, and our quarterback just got slammed to the ground, hit his head. If it would have been like a 3rd and 8, you had a successful play to get it to 4th and 2, that might have been different, but the quarterback just got thrown to the ground, hit his head, and you could tell he was having issues. So based on the situation and how the 3rd down ended, there really was no decision that needed to be made. We needed to punt that situation because the quarterback was kind of out of it.
What did you see at Art when he came in on Saturday?
You know, obviously the offense in the second half wasn't very productive, and that was just from all the offensive players, not just the quarterback. He missed on a couple throws. He was hurried on some throws because of the pressure from Iowa. He had one really nice throw down the sideline to Isaiah on a wheel route, but we didn't do a whole lot in the second half.
You said that you evaluated everything. You didn't really mention the offense. How do you fix the offense? What's your comments on that?
Well, the first thing we got to do is get back to the details in the pass game that we were having during training camp and in game 1. I think you saw in game 1 we threw for over 300 yards, 340 yards or whatever it was, and that's more of what our expectations are. We had some guys in that game early in the game open, and we didn't hit them. We had Raheem down the middle of the field there at one time. We missed him. We had Bo open on the 2nd and 2 with a little hitch ball in the ground. So there were some we had a screen and go that we overthrew. So there were some opportunities to make some big plays that we missed, and we've got to take advantage of them. I think I said this after the game. I really believe this. To score points, you're going to have to advance the ball in the air at times. You can't just go, start the ball or start the drive on a 25-yard line and go all the way down the field running the ball. It's just not going to happen. And we know that. We worked extremely hard on the pass game all spring, all summer, all training camp. Felt really good about where we're at, and it just didn't work on Saturday. And again, a lot of credit to Iowa. They played up front a really good game. It was the Big Ten opener, and they played Big Ten football. And we've got to clean up the details on all aspects of the pass game. Even though there was only 1 sack, the quarterbacks got rushed and got hit a couple times. And then some of the routes from the receivers and tight ends and running backs, all of them, weren't as detailed and crisp as they need to be. And then obviously some throws that I just mentioned.
With getting ready for BC, is there a certain time that McClain has to be ready by so he can get practice reps, or how do you kind of handle that?
Yeah, again, that's not up to me. At some point, the medical staff will come and say, hey, here's where he's at with his symptom scores. He'll have a chance, or hey, he's going to be out because he's just not close enough.
But I mean, do you have to have so many practices with him to start him when he's healthy?
Well, really, you're going to have to be about symptom-free probably for about 5 days before a guy would be cleared to play. But again, that's my mind right now is focused on the guys that I know they're going to be there for this week of practice, and as our planning goes into next week, and at some point the medical staff will give us a decision.
Two more questions.
You don't sound thrilled with the quarterback playing Iowa. If he's healthy,
I'm not thrilled about the offense, the play of the offense at Iowa. That is not what we expect. That's not what we've seen during training camp, and that's not what we plan to see for the rest of the season. But it's not just one position. It's not just one player. Just overall, when you get 121 total yards in college football, that's not acceptable, and that's not our standard, and that's not what we've been working to put out on the field.
That said, if Carter's healthy, is he still your quarterback?
We'll have to wait to see when he comes back and see where he's at.
One last one here.
What are some of the biggest wins you've ever been a part of as a coach or a player?
Some of the biggest wins I've been a part of? Well, the first one, I'd say, national championship. Another one when I was at Wisconsin, Ohio State was actually #1 in the country. I think it was 2010, and we beat them when I was at Wisconsin. So those are probably the 2 biggest that I've been a part of. I've been a part of some other big ones, but when you talk about beating the #1 team in the country and winning a national championship, those 2 are probably up there.
There's one more here.
On Saturday, the defense seemed to struggle getting as a quarterback. What would you attribute that to?
Really good protection on the offensive line and play action passes. If you look at us on 3rd down, they were 2 of, I think, 13. That's outstanding. So 3rd down wasn't a problem. But when you're a really good running team, it helps your play action pass. And to transition from defending the run to pass rush off of play action passes, that's difficult. and they did a really good job with some of their play action passes on first and second down. But third down, I thought we did a great job of pressuring the quarterback and playing tight coverage, and the result was a 2 of 13 on third down. But first and second down against a good running team that can play action pass, it's always going to be difficult.
Thanks, Coach.
Yes, thank you guys.